feeling like they worthless. What's more important than the purchase? You buy the shit they sell all the time, like you ain't worth for that. On your 9 to 5, I know you stressing. Necessities neglected, constantly distracted, can't find the right direction. Shit, just know I got a trick for that. Hey, had to switch up the image, get the stain off my name. Brand new, no blemish. A lot of things changed, don't really feel different. Hard to look through the pain like I tinted out my lenses. Walk by faith, sight alone, won't get it. Cause the trauma seen the cloud of my vision. Leaned on my thoughts so long, man, I had shit twisted. Didn't realize the blessings I was given.
I got pain on me, and it won't go away. I was so far gone, I couldn't see shit. I was having a hard time on defense. You did that a couple times, I don't wanna make amends. I don't like to pretend I'm gone in a win. Cause I be stressing about it a lot, and I can't talk to nobody about it. I'm the real deal, you can't make a copy, nigga.
Man, I've been trying to reach the ceiling. Where I come from, I was labeled as the villain. I was restricted on how far I could go. I didn't have no hope, so all a nigga really did was smoke. It's all I really could do to cope. The only direction I had was to the liquor store. The truth's really simple. We were so young and influential that the streets took a toll on our mental. But the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob let me wake up. Lion of Judah, who let a caveman take us? God did. Lord, forgive me for I have sinned. I'm just trying to be like Daniel, surviving his lion's den. I'm back to writing again. Flows deep as Leviathan. If you desire truth, look no further, cause I am him. Suicide by pen. If you trying to come rival him, got a call that tried to pull me back to that old life again. Why would I pretend? Steady living this life of sin. If you don't think people change, you don't know Michael Lynn. If you don't think we in chains, look at your life again. Then you'll see why these heathens rage and who they side against. Yeah, I listen to Chief teach these heathen. Kill him with so much scripture, he won't be clean to the even. And in this land of teeming, our people cleave to their demons. My OG 60 years old, still knee deep in this street shit.
Shalom, family. How that audio coming in though? Again, if you like the music, make sure to check out Kama Amath. You feel me? Make sure to check out One Sleepy Trip as well, man. You know. But let's go jump right into it. We're not finna waste no time. We're not finna do that, man. You know, if you in here, you in here. All praise to the Most High, man. You know, but first and foremost, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to the Most High God, Yahweh. We do all things through his only begotten Son, who the world innately calls Jesus Christ. This is your boy, Madati Abamba Yum out of that Masada, man. All right. Shout out to all the Israelites, you know, that's out there doing the work like we do, man. All right. How that audio coming in? You know, I hope we loud, I hope we clear, I hope we crisp. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Because if you ain't paying attention in the geopolitics, man, I don't know what it is that you're doing. Like, I just don't. I don't. All right, hold on one second, y'all. 1 second. Find this really quick. You heard, man. All right. Let's get this started. Let's get this going for real. 1 second.
First and foremost, I want to give all praises.
Gee, gotta make that. Yeah, we gotta make sure that audio right. Make sure that audio is right, man. All right. But y'all see it here, man. Y'all see it here. Right? Let's read this before we play the video. First, I want to. Where's it at? I closed that. No, I didn't. It's right here. All praises. Fair use. First thing is first. Fair use, fam. All right. Fair use. Okay. We are doing this for the edification. We doing this so that way, you know, we can, we can share it, we can view it, because this is something that needs to be done in real time. You heard me? So now that that's done, this is from BBC News. All right. Iran must now make peace, says Trump, after U.S. strikes on nuclear sites. About an hour ago, DJ Donald Trump, the president of the United States of America, right, decided to go ahead and bomb nuclear facilities, 3 of them, on Iran. What does this mean, y'all? Like, what? Like, are we not seeing what's going on here? Because Iran was talking mad greasy for the past couple days. Don't worry, we'll get some of their stuff here in a little bit, right? Let me see. Hold on. Gotta do the plugins, right? And it gives people, some time to get into the chat, right? One second. One second. Salakia, family. Salakia. I should have been doing this, but this is an impromptu live. I repeat, this is an impromptu live, for real. This is not planned. Boom, and yes. Yep. Boom. All right. Let's get it. U.S. attack on Iran. We have completed our very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites. Iran, including Fordo, Natanz, and Esfahan. Quoted by Donald Trump, right? So live reporting. Iran Atomic Energy Organization condemns U.S. attacks, right? We are getting some more reaction from Iran following the U.S. strikes. The Atomic Energy Organization of Iran, the AEOI, condemns America's savage assault on 3 Iranian nuclear sites. The organization also criticizes the International Atomic Energy Agency, the IAEA, for being indifferent and even complicit, right? The AEOI called the global community to condemn the attacks and support Iran's rightful position. The organization says that despite the malicious plans of the enemies, scientists and experts will keep the country's nuclear industry moving forward. They're not stopping. They're not stopping at all, right? The organization will be taking necessary steps, which will include legal actions following the attacks, the statement said. So, man, okay, they said they're going to take legal action, right? Let's do one more real quick. Trump's message to Iran: negotiate or expect more. Trump said, what are we going to do? Either get down or lay down. That's basically what he's saying. That is basically what he is saying right now. Trump's message to the Iranian regime was short, simple, and direct. Come to the negotiating table or more strikes will come. So this happened after he bombed Iran. Either sit down at my table or where you're going to get hit some more. What, it's 9:34? It's 9:34. He talking that big shit. Right? If they do not, future attacks will be far greater, he said, and a lot a lot easier. He talking big shit. In the lead up to the attacks, Trump had repeatedly, at least publicly, left room for negotiations to continue. Now he continues to leave the path open, but with the threat of further American strikes looming over Iran's leadership. There will be either peace or there will be a tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days, he said. Notably, Trump did not explicitly mention the possibility of regime change in Tehran. Instead, he made it clear the U.S. considers the operation largely over, but if and only if Iran comes to the table. So basically, if Iran does not go to, if they don't go to the negotiating table with America, this will continue. He said he's not going to back off. That's exactly what he is saying. He's not backing off at all. Either sit down at my table, listen to those demands, or you're going to be bombed, right? Which is absolutely wild, right? The U.S. has moved considerable military assets to the region, which suggests as Trump noted, that the U.S. is ready to move extremely quickly if the president chooses. Looks like he decided to move. So again, we're seeing. Okay, the U.S. strikes a dangerous escalation, says UN Secretary General. Hey, yo, what is man saying? Yeah. He said the UN has also issued its response to the strikes, calling it a dangerous escalation. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres says there is now a growing risk that the conflict could rapidly get out of control, a catastrophe consequences for civilians, Salak, the region, and the world. He adds in a post on X, at this perilous hour, it is critical to avoid a spiral of chaos. There is no military solution. The only path forward is diplomacy. The only hope is peace. So the UN isn't necessarily backing this. They're actually saying that wasn't the right move for America. The UN is saying this. The United Nations are telling the world that they do not agree right here. Hey, we see what's going on. All right. So let's go ahead and watch this. This is live right now, but we're going to watch this for a good little minute. But again, real quick, fair use, right? We are watching this for educational purposes, not for our own content and things like that. We're here to make our own content and report on what's going live for the edification of the people. All right, let's go.
Shaft for that facility have been hit to try to put it out of operation. That would be a very significant accomplishment and set back the nuclear program even further. At Isfahan, I mean, probably what I would be looking for if they hit the tunnels. Iran, back in about 2007, built a series of tunnel complexes or tunnel entrances. We don't know what's inside. Next to the Isfahan site, and they declared it to the IAEA, the international inspectors, that was part of the Isfahan nuclear complex. And Israel, as of today, had not bombed those tunnels. It did do a pretty extensive bomb run on six or seven buildings, I guess 7 buildings at the main Isfahan site. But they didn't touch the tunnels, and so did the U.S. hit those that tunnel complex and put them out of our operation. And there's been a lot of buzz that those tunnels at Isfahan store a lot of enriched uranium. And that was their purpose, as declared, was in an emergency, move the vital assets into those tunnels for protection. And so, again, that would make a very legitimate and reasonable target for the United States.
Okay, David, I wonder if I have time to ask you another question.
Okay, so it's a strategic move. They're trying to I guess what the aim was with aiming for that was, of course, to effectively slow down their, I guess their rise to being a nuclear power in the earth. Basically, is what it sounds like. Which I never understood this about America, right? Now they can't do nothing about Russia, they can't do nothing about China, but there are several nations in this earth who also have nuclear capabilities. The US is known for being the only country to use these bombs on another civilization, another country, right? And because they're the only ones, they still make this threat, and it's almost as if they're scared for everybody else to get it, which they should be, right? But what kills me is that the US thinks that they can police the rest of the world on who can and can't have, basically an equalizing beating stick. Because that's really what it is. I have my nuclear weapons. You can't have them because if you have them, that means you can hit me with the same. Like, nah, it's not like that, fam. You're going to have to get over it. Because that's what's going to be your undoing. The thing that you use, that you were, using as your what's the word I'm looking for? Basically the weapon that you flash. You always do the threat of nuclear, or that's just the looming threat that you give. That's why that's why you think you can police the world, but nah. But as far as like a strategy of them trying to hit to either limit or completely stop their nuclear supplies, or the supply or their nuclear weapon production would be a better way of putting it. That does make sticks. That's a good strategic move. It's stupid on their part because you're being dragged into a conflict now. But let's keep watching. Let's see.
Question, but what would be the nuclear risks around targeting sites like this? I know you sort of explained that some of them are underground, but what might be some of the possible risks around this?
I don't think there's much risk at all. I mean, if you did dig back in and there was nuclear material, and there very well could be, then you've got to protect yourself. Maybe wear a ventilator, and particularly worry about the fluorine content of uranium hexafluoride because it's extremely chemically reactive. If
Look at this. I don't know if somebody saw it earlier, but he used his B-2 bombers that were involved earlier today, which I don't think I can find them today. I might be able to if I actually look. But I remember seeing a post earlier today about, which I don't know if this was right out the way, but there were like the B-2 bombers were sent out, and then there's a pretty much a large naval force. Yeah, submarines, rising to the surface of the water to meet helicarriers out in the ocean, out at sea. I don't remember what sea that it was, but they did meet up, and I'm wondering if that's where the B-2 bombers went. Flown out, met them, landed, and then kept going further, or at least was there for like a coastline backup. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see.
excuse me, you don't want to breathe in the uranium, but a simple face mask can deal with that. It's very unlikely, extremely.
Skippingly, facts. He made everybody. He made every American fair game now. I don't think that Iran was playing games when they said if you help or fight, you are now a target. Like I said, I do see the reason for going after their nuclear supply, because that's the big one. America isn't scared of Iran's current military prowess. America is scared of their developing nuclear weapon. That's what they're scared of, right? Shalom, Kaniak.
Unlikely that anything would get off-site. And also think about it. If there's nuclear material in Fordow, it's under about 80 meters of rock. I think the United States may have created a kind of a unregulated geological repository for that uranium. And so it's very unlikely to come out. And the fluorine will react very quickly and form compounds that tend not to move too easily. So I think the offsite population doesn't need to worry. And that would have been thought through. I mean, I know everyone's worried about this, but these issues have been thought through very carefully by military planners with an eye to try to make sure that you don't have radiation escaping from these facilities.
Okay, and you studied Iran.
Hey, valid point though. Valid point, because this is a place where they were pretty much getting their enriched uranium, right? As far as the tunnels go. I could see Iran letting this slide or pretending to let it slide because these tunnels were, you know, they had to get the enriched uranium somehow. They found a deposit, they went up in there and they made these structured tunnels, if I'm not mistaken, right? However, if that's their supply, and this is just outside the box thinking, if that is one of their supplies or their main supply for the uranium and enriched uranium, right? Of course, it would behoove them to want to redig it out. So with the US bombing those facilities as well as those tunnels, like you were saying, they could have, you know, forced a geological event. Possible radiation leakage, that's very possible. However, what's also possible is the US, while thinking it's going to destroy it and slow them down, they might have shook loose a nice little deposit of uranium that now, as Iran begins to fish it out and rebuild those tunnels, if they do so, and if they're that destroyed, they might have actually came up on something that's really going to spark the US for real. It's possible. It's possible.
Nuclear program for a long time, haven't you, David? I mean, the next question, we sort of touched on it a little bit, is this likely to have dramatically reduced its capability for enrichment?
Well, if all three of those areas that I talked about were hit and they're worth, obviously Fordow has 2,700 centrifuges in it, and it may have some enriched uranium. Fordow had 15,000 or more. So I think you're really taking out the bulk of their centrifuge program. You have to still worry about centrifuges that had been manufactured and not deployed. So there's still going to have to be, by Israel, a hunt and destroy mission, and they're trying to recruit people. Mossad sent out notices all through Iran that, you know, essentially if you want to create a new life, participate. They
All right,
contact
dude,
this
is starting to piss
Dom,
me off for real.
for themselves. That's
Given you're just joining this rolling coverage here on BBC News, let's just bring you up to date on in a post on Truth Social. One of what you can see on the are now outside is understood to Isfahan, and in a separate post, President Trump said that Fordow was now gone. Now, Fordow is the nuclear site that is understood to be quite deep underground. The president's saying that all US planes that were involved in this action are now outside of Iranian airspace.
Real quick. Fair use. All right? This is for fair use, edification, and live reporting.
Base. He said a full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site. Now, what you can see on this screen there are American B-2 bombers. Now, we understand that they were the planes involved in this action, and it was a couple of hours ago that we were reporting that those B-2 bombers from the US had been moved to an American military base in Guam. Now, President Trump is due to address the American people in just under 90 minutes from now. He's going to deliver an address to update the American people. Have that we've spoused this PM. Whether the attack on 3 new
maximum damage. If the Iranians had moved material out, it's difficult to see.
As Defense Minister on
Palms just 2 days
I'm not
after
gonna lie, they're starting to
Israeli
piss me off.
strikes going after ballistic missiles, launchers, military, nuclear facilities. The Islamic
Senator from Pennsylvania, vocal backer of Israel, has just
Bruh, she's looking like she's having a terrible day. For real, she looks like she's having a horrible day.
written on X saying, as I've long maintained, this was the correct move by the president. That these were those B-2 planes which were capable of carrying those bunker busters. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Well, thank you very much for having me. And yes, it does appear that if they did drop those bunker busters, as we like to call them, it would have been with the B-2s. The big message here, and hopefully the Iranians are listening to what President Trump is saying, is that we can strike you anytime, anywhere, any place. And I hope they understand that. And this is probably our quickest path to peace in the area and peace in the region.
And we're also hearing...
Bruh, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's so prideful. That's so prideful to say. Like, I'm going to attack you while you're in the middle of a fight with homie over there, right? I'm gonna destroy some of your stuff. Either you sit down at my table and then we can negotiate, deliberate, talk about things that could bring it into this conflict with you and homie. I know I just slid you, but you gotta sit at my table for that. Because if you're not, I'm finna break more of your ish. And when you're not looking, I'm finna slide your bitch ass. That's what that's literally what he's saying. It's either get whooped or sit down at my table. That's some big ish to talk.
Reports on Fox News that tomahawks were also used. Just remind our viewers what a tomahawk is and how that might have been part of trying to take out these nuclear facilities.
Well, the Tomahawk is going to be it's a cruise missile that's going to be launched from a various method of platforms. It can be launched from the sea. It can be launched from some aircraft. And it's going to fly a very specific projected route into a target. They're very hard to stop. They're very hard to defend against. And they, what I consider, are a relatively low-cost precision weapon. You know, low cost is relative, but they can strike targets pretty much anywhere in the world from our platforms in different methods. And very accurate, very precise, a absolute plan to reduce any civilian casualties by using those weapons.
And in terms of how quickly they could have been scrambled, I mean, we were only hearing this evening that the B-2s had been moved from, I think it was Missouri, but you may know better than me, to Guam.
Well, what it seems like they did, and this is a very iconic method, we launch aircraft from many different directions, many different places. They may or may not end up in a target area. It's a way to help deceive our enemies. What the president did was a beautiful...
Is he stupid? Is he stupid? Hold up. I know it's prophecy that it has to happen. I know Mystery Babylon has to be destroyed. Tactfully, you can't be this stupid. I understand that dude right here is really trying to, you know, he's trying to not say too much, but still answer the question as much as possible. She's smart for asking the question. He's dumb for trying to answer it. Because no matter how you answer it, it's not going to look bad, but the enemy can literally watch this and they can come up with different ways of really messing you up because now they know what you're doing. They can put 2 to 2 together and they can add to 4. Like, this is America, you're shooting yourself in the foot, and it's hilarious to me.
Full methodology, I thought, to choreograph and tell our adversaries exactly what was going to happen. He just didn't tell them when. He gave them every opportunity to off-ramp the situation. They chose not to. In the other story here, the Iranian military needs to stand down. If they attack U.S. forces, which they are capable of doing, they can see, and I believe confidently that our president will protect our men and women that are overseas and deployed and protect America as a whole and any Americans abroad. So they should not attack any of our bases.
Hold up. Hold up. Okay. So how this started was when Israel randomly bombed Iran because they claimed to have received intel that Iran was planning an attack, and it was supposed to be sooner rather than later, if I'm not mistaken. So in doing so, this conflict starts. Iran is talking big and greasy, saying if anybody assists or steps in, they then become a target. They didn't say who. They said whoever it is that does it. It doesn't matter who. They said whoever it is, you will be a target. Apparently, Putin has been told by Iran to keep out of it. And then, without them attacking, now I haven't seen anything of Iran attacking another country or another country's forces and their satellite bases, if you call them. I forget what they're called, but pretty much their offshore bases and whatnot. And so they haven't done that, at least not that I've seen. And so what Trump decides to do is to, there's a possibility of an attack. Let's just bomb them. They didn't attack you. You attacked them. Essentially, Trump is calling their bluff and calling BS and basically saying, "I wish you would." They've been watching you blacks and Hispanics for too long. Edom really think he big and bad like that. This is too funny. Okay, I get it. I'm starting to peep game.
And ideally, this will get him to the peace table. And if not, more strikes.
Attacking someone gets them to the peace table. That's literally beating someone into submission. That's crazy.
Do you think the next sort of military action could be from the US in terms of helping Israel to retaliate?
What I believe we will do, this was plans that I saw when I was still on active duty, is we will not attack any population centers. We are only going to attack what I call war-supporting infrastructure, anything that will allow Iran to make war. What the Iranian people should understand, and they have an opportunity here to help with, if you want to call it regime change or a better path, we could strike, or Israel could strike, any economic target at will. We don't want to do that. We don't want to cripple the Iranian people. The Iranian people should be seen as our friends. They may not believe that today, but hopefully in the future they will understand. And we used to be great friends with Iran back in the day. So by removing, if you will, a regime that is promised to destroy America and promised to destroy Israel, may allow the Iranian people to have an Iranian that they can love and cherish, and then become friends with the rest of the world.
Okay, thank you for your thoughts.
So kill the current regime that's there, put somebody in there that agrees with our ways and what we want to do in the rest of the world, and then they'll be at peace. That's basically what he just said. That's basically what he just said. Wow. Okay, yeah, I'm starting to, hold on. Let me make sure it's right. Now, let me make sure that I'm correct in this. Okay, boom, I was right. Let's get some Bible real quick. Let's get some Bible in here. Where are we at? Let's see. Boom. This is the book of Psalms, chapter... Let me start at verse 6. Chapter 73 and verse 6. Therefore pride compasseth them about as a chain. Violence covereth them as a garment. America did attack Iran without being attacked first. They initiated the fight. Israel did not attack Iran because they were attacked. They initiated the fight. due to them either feeling as if they're threatened or trying to say that they were threatened and giving them justified probable cause, like what we see with police officers, right? And so what did they do? Their proud to be an American, right? Words that were probably curated by the people who own America. And so violence covereth them as a garment. They just wear violence. They exhume violence. Both Israel and the U.S. attacked Iran. Both were technically unprovoked, but felt as if they were provoked, right? Basically crashing out for whatever reason. What? You said they was going to do what? You found out they was going to do what? Hey, let's bomb them. Oh, you said that anybody got involved. What if I started to get involved? What you going to do to me? Bomb them. How the hell you going to try to push peace and don't and don't try to at first? Like, you say that you tried it, but you're just trying to force people to your ways, right? Verse 7, their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than heart could wish. They have everything, right? We can't pretend that the people the Israelis, right? We can't pretend that they don't have certain sects of their families, right? That are that top percent earners of this earth, and as if they don't own America. Like, that's a real thing. America has been owned since 1912 by the Federal Reserve, who is owned by a prominent family of Israelis, right? America pays an annual tithe to Israel, right? For, I think it was like some type of compensation from World War II, which doesn't make sense at all, right? But they have everything that they could wish, right? They are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily, right? So, again, like, if I'm not mistaken, in Israel, if someone picks up a rock, right? We were all kids. You go down by the lake, you know what I'm saying? You see rock, oh, that's a cool rock. I can skip it. Kids pick up stuff and throw rocks. Apparently, it's 25 years, automatic. Like, it's damn near illegal, right? But these people are corrupt, and they don't care about the people they oppress. They just oppress. Like that. Like, how is that not oppressive, right? I live in this land. These people moved into this land and claim to be a people, and we don't recognize them as that people. But the world forces them here and forces us out of our place. We have to coexist with them, and these people are complete and total assholes. Let's be real. But we have to bend to their ways and what they deem. And now America is trying to get those same people to bend to their ways and the way that they do things. And they don't care. They're going to make it sound good, and they're going to make it sound like they're wrong for feeling oppressed. Just like how they try to make blacks, Hispanics, and natives feel wrong for being oppressed. They speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily. Verse 9. They set their mouth against the heavens. Their tongue walketh through the earth. What I say goes. And that's exactly what they're describing. I'm going to continue to bomb you until you sit down at my table. That is what's happening here, right? These people are so evil and oppressive. These are these same people that you read about, man. The most prideful people in this earth. The Edomite, and more specifically, the Amalekite, right? These are these people. Let's go back.
Colonel William Dunn, former US Marine Corps officer who flew combat missions, that predatory full part-authorized Iranian state TV legitimate.
Set these Iranian affairs. And when you look at Persian language social media and what pro-regime and pro-government sources are saying there, they're also promising to widen the war and intensify their operations against Israel as well. We know that based
enrichment site. Now, Iranian state Trump is due to make a televised Iranian state TV, or a commentator, I should say, on Iranian state TV, Ben Talibler from the Center for Defense of Democracy, an Iran expert. That is
what
a
makes him
state
an expert?
TV commentator. It's not an Iranian government official, but still, what would you read into that threat?
It's akin to the threats that the Islamic Republic had been levying, at least on air, both with official and unofficial media, against the U.S. in an attempt to deter such an attack. You've seen Iranian officials really talk about the potential for a war to widen if America was going to be going after the Fordo fuel enrichment plant, which is, again, the crown jewel of Iran's nuclear facilities. And when you look at Persian language social media and what pro-regime and pro-government sources are saying there, they're also promising to widen the war and intensify their operations against Israel as well. We know that based on publicly reported numbers, less than 10% of Iran's medium-range ballistic missiles between 420 and 480 have been fired in the past week. Less than 10% have landed against Israeli territory, essentially all civilian targets. So you're likely going to see an intensification of the already widening Israel-Iran war, and then the potential for Iran to either via proxy using rockets or drones at U.S. bases.
They're really running a game with their media. So this Iranian expert, this guy, right, is essentially trying to say that even though what you're seeing online, you know, they're bombing, Iran is bombing this, that, and the third, right? It's not accurate. It's not hitting like that. Only 10% are making it to Israel. So you're saying that it's fruitless. They're just wasting ammunition, right? So why do we see a lot of Israelis shown, you know, to be disheveled, buildings destroyed, in a panic, bleeding in hospitals? That don't sound like they're missing, bro. But he's the expert. It's a good propaganda game, though. They're downplaying the enemy and basically saying there's no way that they can beat us. They have to sit at the table. Like, it's very passive aggressive. But all right.
In Iraq or U.S. bases in the region, or potentially this statement being the harbinger of a more direct attack from Iranian territory like we saw in January of 2020.
Benham, a lot of our viewers will be deeply worried about what might come next. Of course, none of us can actually predict that. But in terms of who Iran might have as an ally in the region, just take us through who might be supporting Iran, just as we know, of course, the US has been very closely coordinating with Israel.
Well, that is indeed the challenge and really the predicament the government of the Islamic Republic of Iran put itself in. It has no state allies today. Its sole state ally in the Arab world, the Assad regime in Syria, really fell late last winter, as we saw with the rise of Mr. Shara, Mr. Jolani, and the other HTS-backed rebel officials. You've seen Iran create or co-opt, however, at the non-state level, an architecture of transnational terrorists, proxies, militias in places like Iraq, Syria, abilities that are nearly the political resistance.
Our partner, all it plans to
Trump, or at least as a proliferation operation, but as a regime change operation of the Islamic change scenes, the missile military. Worry about them.
President Trump has confirmed.
I don't care.
So again, just your
I don't care.
Retaliation.
I don't.
Of course, there's been so
other partners in the region
on Iranian state TV.
Then added that for that highest price have been paid, and if they're all destroyed, what do you?
I don't care.
A group of Israeli militarily towards Israel.
It is wake up in the morning.
Where is the man?
His remarks from the
Short time ago, the U.S.
Okay, there we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Now we're getting somewhere. Thank you.
This is BBC News coming to you live from Washington. I'm Regini Vaidyanathan. We come on air with that news that the US has confirmed that it has attacked Iran. President Trump posting on the Truth Social platform that the US had completed what he said was a very successful attack on threatened site. Well, Iranian also important now in of Guam office interest as we wait for the president.
Thank you very much. A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime, Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades. Hopefully, we will no longer need their services in this capacity. I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin-Kane, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago.
Cap.
Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel. And God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So there you have it. The president walking away after he has given that address to the nation there.
Okay, so that was the press conference. That did sound scripted.
Saying he will go after...
Did say in a social media post that
there is no peace, confirming, but flanked by the US Vice President J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, and Pete Hegseth, the Defense Secretary. I've watched quite a lot of these addresses in my time when I was a correspondent in Washington. I don't recall seeing one where it's not just the president.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like one of the most notable announcements was when President Barack Obama announced the death of Osama bin Laden, and there's been lots of other major announcements there as well. The signing of significant treaties and legislation like the Camp David Accords. But yes, I don't think that's I've seen that before. But maybe that shows that this was, you know, a decision not just taken by the president, that he's flanked by, these are loyalists surrounding him. And it was a very short speech, as you said, and it was Donald Trump. It wasn't Donald Trump riffing. It was clearly a scripted speech where he, you know, said what he had to say. I'm not quite sure we got more information from him in terms of what this strike, these strikes, how many strikes, and what.
I agree. Like, it did sound very scripted. Like, you can tell when, like, he keyed in on when he had to take a breath so he can say his next part. It looked very rigid and very, very scripted. Let's see what Russia talking about. Let's do a quick little refresh. Bruh, I'm saying, I was laughing when I saw that. I was absolutely laughing, like, bruh. Like, what do you mean, thank God? Like, bruh. Go on somewhere with that. You gonna bless them all right with thermonuclear destruction. U.S. joins Israeli bombing. What they saying was this? Okay, you said live updates. What's going on live? Like, what's up?
But they might decide to say, oh, this really wasn't that significant.
Hat zu einem Protektor.
Almost all of Europe, led by Nazi Germany, took part in the genocide of aircraft carrier, the Leyen.
I see it will divide. I think they're noticeably quiet. They're observing, but I think there will be longer term implications dependent upon what direction Iran goes, because Iran has been so integral to Russia and China's Belt and Road Initiative. It serves as the.
They cannot be on the side of this. We will have to strike. So maybe yes, it's possibly true that they already moved the materials, or maybe they took some precautions against an American strike. Also, all the reports before the strike in the last couple of days said that even the B-2 Spirit bombers, they could not take out the Fordo facility because it's very deep underground. It's very hard to get. So we're still not sure. Maybe USA crippled Iranian nuclear program.
This gave up its nuclear weapons program in 2003. Iran.
Okay. From Iranian Revolutionary Guard, the U.S. must await severe punishment. We will target all American interests in the Middle East. Interesting. That's very interesting. This is an hour ago. Footage of the U.S. striking Iran nuclear state. Oh.
Смотри, идет сюда. Сейчас. Видели эту волну? Просто жесть. Смотри, идет сюда. Офигеть, сейчас.
That's mad.
Я думаю, что пора, парни.
Someone was spiraled over.
О, смотри, 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 идет сюда. Офигеть, сейчас.
Also, yeah, it's a lot. Boom. Be sure, follow us on X. All right, let's go back. The Islamic Republic of Iran's nuclear program remains fully intact. The pig man is lying yet again. That's funny. Okay. Okay. I don't know who's running these Iranian things, but it's kind of funny. It's not kind of funny. It is funny. Okay, well, family, I'm going to say it like this. We don't know what's going to happen yet. It's still very early. I haven't gotten any updates on a response from Iran or anything of the sort. Yeah. Stay prayed up. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you're doing what you need to do. And keep very close eye on what happens on that side of the world. Yeah. Like I said, right now, nothing's happening. The last thing that happened was a press conference. We not going to hear as much of anything that's going on over there unless you just tapped in and you know somebody for real. But definitely want to keep close eye on this, guys. You know, make sure you studying, make sure you praying, fasting even, because you got to, the time is very much nigh. But yeah, family, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to follow. With that, shalom.
Let's bring the old days back, pull out the pad and the pen. Go to the book, you know the answers within. And before this track ends, if you're battling sin, go to the book because the answer's within. Let's bring the old days back, pull out the pad and the pen. Go to the book, you know the answers within. And before this track ends, if you're battling sin, go to the book because the answer's within. It's the attack of the pen with a spectacular spin. Gotta open up your Bible cause the answer's within. Both the highway to heaven and the stairway to hell. All your hopes and your dreams, all your wishes and prayers. Everything that you need to keep the demons at bay. If you pray, you'll keep the spirits away. Okay, I know times can get hectic on this weary ass road. You gotta know to keep the spirit of Job. Let's go. Here goes something to ride to, something to vibe to, some kind of soundtrack to picture your lives to. Keep the main character energy's what I do, while you flip the script and look for something to disguise you. You can play the part, I know you like the pretending. It's okay, you be the good guy and I'll be the villain. If you focus on wisdom and keep these laws in your life, everything's gonna be alright. Alright, let's bring the old days back, pull out the pad and the pen. Go to the book, you know the